Hey, doll, Mary doll, ring a dong dillo.
Jesus Christ.
Ring a dong, hop along, follow the willow. Tom Bomb, jolly Tom Bombadillo.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to Full of the Took. We are here to talk about The Old Forest, Chapter 6. That was a beautiful intro, dear.
Beautiful rendition.
Beautiful. I loved it.
So last chapter, the hobbits finally arrived at Crick Hollow, Frodo's new home, where Fatty Bolger was eagerly awaiting them with warm baths and dinner. After a long, playful bath and some supper, Sam and Pippin start telling Merry about the Black Riders. Frodo doesn't say too much. Seeing how uncomfortable and miserable Frodo is, Merry finally admits they all know Frodo plans on leaving the Shire. Most of Merry's information has come from Sam, who's been spying on Frodo for months. Merry tells Frodo they're ready to leave whenever he is, and Frodo decides to leave at dawn the next day, avoiding the main roads and taking the path through the Old Forest. Fatty declares he will stay at the Crick Hollow to impersonate Frodo, trying to keep the Shire from knowing about Frodo's departure, as well as letting Gandalf know where they have gone if he ever shows up.
And if he survives.
Right.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
That was a perfect little catch-up. We are now going into Chapter 6, The Old Forest. You want to take it away, my dog?
Chapter 6, The Old Forest. So it starts off in the dark. Merry helpfully pokes his head in and wakes Frodo up and says, it's 4:30 in the morning. We're going. It's time. Like, wake up. Everyone else is awake. Sam's making breakfast. I'm going to go pack the ponies. We're going. I'm even going to wake Fatty up so he has to say goodbye to us because no one gets out of this. And I don't know if you guys have ever started anything at 4:30 in the morning. Nothing good starts at 4:30 in the morning.
That's very true.
Nothing. So they go, they get all set up, they get their pony set up, and then by 6 a.m. they're out. And they have begun their journey from Crick Hollow to points unknown. I'm not following this. Is there a plan beyond head east out of the Shire?
Yeah, they're going to Rivendell.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do they know where Rivendell is?
Mary's convinced, from the way Mary's talking, he thinks he knows the way through the Old Forest.
He might,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know the way to Rivendell.
And that's kind of my
Well, I
point.
think the whole point is they're going to get on the East Road, and Rivendell is right off of the East Road.
Yes.
Exit 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According to Hobbit lore, you get on the East Road, hang a left at it.
It's a bad plan, guys. It's a bad plan.
Bad plan.
But you're right, though. Mary is the guide through the Old Forest. He says, yeah, I can get us through this. I've been in there a couple times, mostly just during the daylight hours, because during the day, the trees are talkative, but generally not ominous, or he alludes to them being, ill intent. They go to the hedge, and they find this tunnel that the hobbits use to get through. And Fatty won't even go in the tunnel. And he says,
See you.
later. And he knows kind of everything. He's been caught up on like the riders and everything that's going on. And his number one concern is, Frodo, man, I wish you did not have to go into this forest. That sucks, but good luck. And Frodo's like, yeah, well, if this is the worst thing that happens to me, I think we're doing okay. And I don't think he understands the forest based on what happens. Because they go through this tunnel and there's a big iron gate and they lock it with this like super ominous sound. And then they're out of the Shire. For the first time in 100 pages, we've left the Shire. But the point of all this is that they close that gate, and Pippin's like, he takes this moment to be like, so are all the stories true? And Mary's like, well, if you're talking about the ghost stories that, your nan tells you about, like ghosts and goblins and wolves, like who even believes in that? I don't know. You read Bilbo's secret book, man. But anyway, so it's this whole thing where they're walking into this wood, and it is a wall of trees, and it's strange. And Mary's trying to like prep everybody. He says, by the way, I know the path in, but it's not always the path in, and the path's not always the same, and the trees like to move around. And don't worry, during the daylight hours, they're not too grabby, and they just dive in and they go. And turns out the path is gone. But Mary's got this. He's fine. We're going in. No one else is having a good time. And if Mary's having a bad time, he's real stone-faced about it. And they finally find what's called the Burning Glade?
Bonfire
The
glade.
Bonfire Glade. They
Nice
call it
job, Laura.
and the reason they call it the Bonfire Glade is because the hobbits had a little war with the forest one time.
Yes.
And it ended with a lot of fires. The hobbits just like setting a huge fire in the forest. We could talk about that later.
I have so many
Yeah, we gotta talk
comments
about
that.
But they find this landmark. It's a big clearing where no trees grow. And then they look around and like, oh, well, there's the road north that we need to follow to find the Great East Road to go to Rivendell, wherever Rivendell may or may not be.
Right.
And so they just happily follow the road in the the forest of ominous trees. And Pippin's yelling. And he's just like, hey, trees, hey,
Oi!
oi, oi, mate, we just want to get north then. How about it? And then everything gets even more ominous. And no one's happy. Not the hobbits, not the trees, not the ponies. And Mary just kind of throws over her shoulder like, I should not do more yelling if I were you. It does more harm than good. And so they find this road, and now it's like, okay, well, thank God we have the road anyway. So Frodo is like, he does the very Hobbit thing of trying to sing a song. And he gets to this ending line of like, even east or west, even forests must fail eventually. This idea that like eventually they'll get out of the forest. And he says the word fail, and like all the trees stop moving. And like the wind that's like, so everything goes dead ass quiet. And into this silence, Mary just throws back, Frodo, I should not sing anymore if I were you. The trees do not like it. And they follow this road. And they look around and they look north to the Barrow Downs, which is apparently a very bad place. And Tolkien just drops sinister, about which there are many, many scary stories. And then he just drops it. And like, we don't hear about it again. But then they can't see their road forward. They can't see anything else. They just kind of like, they're looking around. They're hoping to see horizons. They don't. It's mist and fog and awfulness everywhere except directly above where there's sun. And so they hop back on the road after a little lunch. And then the road starts bending east, which is the direction they do not want to go because that leads to the Withywindle
River.
Withywindle.
So it's like a 70s song. Withy window. Withy window. Yeah.
Withy window.
Here I was thinking of
First ADD episode.
Not only that, there's too many songs in this, and I just can't stop singing.
Laura, give me a Withywindle, but Jean Ralphio.
Oh,
I don't. Withywindle.
love it.
Perfect.
Oh my God, the hobbits in the woods.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
That's amazing.
I feel like that's what they're doing right now. They're like, stop singing, stop yelling, don't be suspicious.
And it's just like they get so fucking turned around. They get so turned around. The road just goes. And finally they're confronted with like, this road is not taking us where we need to go. It's taking us to the heart of darkness. We got to get off road. So they do. And they're like, we'll bang a left turn. We'll head north. We'll be fine. Long story short, they're not fine. They're not fine. The forest pushes them back east and south and keeps pushing them. And at a certain point, they just look around and go, I guess this is how we die. And they
How does the forest push them?
the trees, so if going left would take them north, the trees are very close together. And the path of least resistance is always to their right. No matter what direction they go, it's always to their right. The brambles on their left are impenetrable. The trees ahead of them are impenetrable. The shit behind them is bad. To the right is fine. And so it keeps pushing them further and further right until they're curled and they're just going the wrong direction altogether.
So the trees are actually moving.
Yes. The
Very
trees
slowly.
This is not a bad feeling on the part of the hobbits. This is them doing accurate risk assessments of their environment and understanding that these trees are awake and angry. Merry does the most English thing in the world. He's in this hostile land. They don't really know where they are, what's going on. He says, I shall go ahead and explore. And he does, and he fucks off by himself, and they find this like water meadow where there's rivers and like it gets very reedy and there's flies and it's very marshy. And the sun's on them again for the first time, and they're all getting really sleepy, and it's just like, it's so tiring. And they see this big tree, and they're like, it would be great if we took a little rest. And Frodo's like, I don't know, guys. I don't think we should. And like Merry and Pippin are dead on their feet. So they just like flop down under this big, huge, not at all ominous willow tree. And Frodo's like, I'm going to go paddle my feet in the water and wake up. And he sits on this root and he paddles his little feet and he falls dead ass asleep up against this tree on the water. And Sam's looking around going, this is bullshit. And so he's like, I'm going to go find the ponies. We got to keep rolling. My hairy ass, we're going to stop for a nap. And then
Exactly what he said.
Exactly.
Verbatim.
He hears a splash and some noises, and he turns around and he's like, oh, it's just Frodo being actively drowned by a willow tree. So he rips Sam rips Frodo out of the water, and they both wake up and they do a quick head count and they find that they are missing like 1.5 hobbits because half of one of them is sticking out of a tree. I think it's Merry, right?
Yes.
Pippin
Don't recall.
swallowed by the tree.
Yeah, the willow tree they were leaning against absorbed them.
Yes. Half of Merry, the bottom half, is currently sticking out of the tree. And again, Sam is like, well, my hairy ass. So he goes and gets his little wood hatchet. And Frodo points out that that's really not going to do a lot of damage against a full-grown tree. You're right. We're going to start a fire. So they start a fire up against the willow tree thinking like, willow tree, you let my friends go and we'll stop the fire. And the willow tree starts talking to Merry, and Merry screams, he will pinch me in half if you don't put that fire out. He told me so, which is nuts. And at this point, they stamp out the fire, and Frodo loses his shit and just starts running and yelling for help. Literally, I need an adult. Just runs into the help, help, help. And what he gets is a song. Just this like weird song wafts over the sound of everything else. The sound of like laughter in the leaves and ominous like music and all the rest of it. This forest is alive and it hates them. And then this song kicks through. And that's how we meet Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil is a merry man.
Tom Bombadil.
And he's like, oh, little guy, are you lost? And he sings this like 14-line song about how he's going to like dance around and Tom's a merry old man and he's got a blue hat.
Bombadil.
And he waltzes his crazy ass up to this tree, snaps off a branch and is like, old man Willow, let them go, or so help me God. And then he leans into the tree and like whispers something that you get the impression that the tree is scared shitless because it immediately spits out the hobbits.
I love that.
Tom's like, wake up, kids. I'm going to go make dinner. Hurry up.
You're coming with me.
Bring the ponies. I love to party. I was like, I like this man.
And then he fucks off into the woods and the hobbits are just like, I guess we got to keep up if we can. And they can't. And night starts to fall. And if you recall, this is all during the day when things are, quote, good. It starts to get dark and it starts to get real bad real fast. And the only thing they have is occasional like snatches of song coming up from ahead. And then finally, as the light fails and they're seeing faces in the trees and shit's getting real bad for essentially lost children and their ponies, they see a house and a song comes out to them and it's like, welcome to my house. We're going to do, I don't know, food. And also my river wife lady is here. It's going to be a great time. Please don't crush my water lilies. And that's how the chapter ends.
That was amazing.
That was awful, and I'm so sorry you sat through that.
No, it was great.
The one thing that really stood out to me, and I believe it's Merry, that he says something that made me think about his relationship with Fredegard, and he says, wake that sluggard fatty.
Brutal.
Now, we've talked about the usage in this book so far of whatever the phrase
Derogatory.
is. Derogatory weight terminology and talk. That's one thing. But to say that sluggard is a word that just cuts deep. That's like a mean thing to say. So for Merry to be like, wake that sluggard fatty, which by the way, his name's not Fatty, it's Fredegard. to say that, I was almost offended while reading.
I was just gonna say, we all know that person that like doesn't wake up until noon.
Yep.
And you're like, wake that guy up, jeez.
Yeah.
Where
like
is that
that.
sack of shit?
Yeah.
Now that
That's
he
what that felt
just
like.
spent days waiting for their arrival
True.
and had hot baths and a whole dinner waiting for them, and he had the whole home cozy and had everything where Frodo had it in Bag End, and that's how he gets thanked.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think, right? Like, so at a certain point, everyone else is like committed to, we're going to go into the great unknown and we're going to do this. And Fredger's like, I don't go into the forest. Y'all are on your own. I will forward all the mail you send. Godspeed.
He has politely declined the invitation to help.
He's like he's like in the loop, but he's out of loop. He's like on his notepad, he's like, they're going to Riverdale. You know, like it's not quite exactly right, but it's like close. Like
Yeah.
But like, he's the voice of reason in this, right? Like, he's the only one who looks at this situation and has like, I think what is a reasonable answer, which is like, maybe just don't.
yeah. I don't know.
Well, the book would be really short if they were reasonable hobbits.
I think
They'd all
it's
be dead.
important that for the sake of story, we leave those characters behind. Because he's not saying yes and.
Right.
He is going, yeah, but. And that's a different kind of person in your life. Especially when you have a big challenge, a big task ahead of you. Yes and people are very different than yes but. And I think it's a really good decision on Tolkien's part to cut him out.
But
We're
they
done.
could have been less harsh.
Well,
Yeah.
like, here's the thing though, right? Like, you get the impression that these are very old friends. Sam's actually the outsider in all this.
Yes.
These guys have been friends forever. You can talk so much shit on your friends, and especially when shit starts to get bad, you can be brutal with one another in a way that reinforces intimacy.
Yes. Absolutely.
And that, to me, this
That's really
is like,
beautiful.
yeah, right? Like, you have this moment where it's like, we know each other well enough that I can like deliver this like truly cutting statement to you, and we're all gonna laugh good-heartedly.
On that topic, Pat, I have to talk to you about something.
Oh, no. He's kidding.
What
It's, no, it's a full-on joke.
What?
Listen, it's about your haircut.
I
We've
didn't
known each
cut
other
my
a
hair.
long time.
I haven't cut my hair.
I know. It's fine.
Laura cuts my hair.
Not anymore.
I know.
Don't blame that shit on me.
I'm not blaming any. What is, I don't know
Back
what's
up. Do
happening.
you cut your husband's hair?
Well, he was in the guard.
Like a
It
head
was-
shave, right?
No,
Not quite a
not like
shave.
not
It's like,
like
an inch on top and then a
this
little
is not
fade
some
to the
full metal
bottom.
jacket shit.
Oh, geez.
You're not still cutting it, right? Okay, good. You know you're not a hairstylist, right?
I know that.
Okay.
But
Do you
when
do you
need a
know she's
haircut
not a
every
hairstylist?
month?
Yeah, but she's free.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't charging
you probably
him
need like
$40.
they inspect it?
Yeah, when it's short like that, everyone who has a short haircut knows that you got to keep that shit sharp.
Yeah.
So that's at a minimum one cut a month.
Oh well, that makes total sense then. Actually.
So then, what is that at the end of the year? That's like $400.
yeah.
How did we even get on haircuts?
I don't know. I'm cutting all that out anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's important that old like friends can talk shit on each other,
Yeah.
Correct.
and that's what it comes back to.
So there's a real big emphasis on this sort of clandestine middle of the night move. It's 4:30 in the morning. They're waking up.
How did they know to wake up?
They're prep. Oh, don't you even dare! I'll kill you! I'll kill you! They got this whole like we got to be quiet. We got to load the ponies. We got to go. No one can know we're leaving. And they go outside. And they slam the gate shut. And Fredger says, "Have a good time!" And they turn around and say, "Thanks, bye!" And I was like, what the fuck? They just spent the last hour like sneaking around the house getting ready. And now they like go outside and they're alerting everybody in a half a mile radius that they're heading out. It was, I don't know. Did anybody else pick up on that? Just
yeah,
me.
Yeah. Well, like they go to a remote part, right? So they're out in the middle of nowhere. But also, everyone's so preoccupied with the fact that they're going into the old forest.
Yeah, they're like giddy. They're like, I'm just gonna yell to my friend. I'm like, Shut up.
Because if the weird black riders don't get me, it's going to be the trees.
Yeah. And they're like, bye.
But also, like,
I love you.
Yeah.
in the
Hey,
last
what's your
chapter or
name?
whatever, they mentioned that Crick Hollow's kind of like off by itself. It's like in its own little.
Yeah, it's more secluded.
Yeah, it's more
But
secluded
I imagine
part.
that's like a cul-de-sac that it's on and not like
No, it's like
a
a
couple
country
miles.
house.
more
in.
of a country
But-
house. Yeah.
But the thing is all this does, right, is reinforce that they need an adult.
They do. Oh my god!
And
it
they
was so
literally
bad.
scream, I need, like,
help.
help, 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 I need an adult.
One thing that I was wondering. So obviously they're trying to cut through the old forest to avoid being seen, but they're heading to the East Road, which is like the major highway of this part of the not the Shire of Middle Earth or whatever. So like they're trying not to be seen cutting through the old forest, but they want to go to the East Road to get to Rivendell. How are they not going to be found on the East Road?
I think, well, I don't know, but I feel like since it's so close to where the elves are, things just know elves have guards and magic. They're protecting their lands. I feel like it's a protected main road.
Could be.
I feel like they're just vibing it and they don't have a better plan.
Gandalf told
True.
them to go that way, and that's where they thought they were going with Gandalf,
Yeah,
right?
but Gandalf thought that Gandalf was going to be there.
Well, there was that.
There's like, yeah, so it's like, they're like, if we stay on the roads, we shall surely be murdered. So we're
go
gonna
to the road.
We're gonna take the highway.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's more traffic on the highway.
Can a
murder
horse
would
get
be-
through that area, maybe? I mean, because if they can't get through the old forest, the ponies are struggling. Those ponies are having a tough time in those bogs and
Oh yeah.
everything. They're having the worst day of their lives.
What also makes me think about Mary. So I really think it's really interesting that Mary is vocal about the fact that he does not believe in these old stories. He does not believe in the goblins and the wolves, and he seems to me the most well-traveled, the most well-adventurous of the group. He's the only one that has been in the old forest multiple times. He like has his own route through it. He's aware of like maneuvering through the land without being seen. He surely has to be on the up and up of like danger on Middle Earth.
Or just the old forest.
Or just the old forest, but like,
But he's like,
yeah.
oh, I know that the trees move and they're independent and they can hurt people.
They're ominous.
Yeah, like he's talking like that. So that felt a little out of character for him to be like, and also I don't believe in those stories of things being out there that can hurt you like that. And it was like, we're in the woods now.
Yeah.
We're here. This is it.
It's like, it's such an amazing moment of like, whoa, guys, it's fine. There's no goblins in the woods. The trees will kill you, but there's no goblins.
Yeah.
Stop being ridiculous.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
He believes what he's seen, and the other are just old wives' tales or his mom telling
It
him that
reminds
to
me
keep
of a
him out the
religious
forest.
person talking about how ridiculous ghosts are.
Or he's just a different flavor of Sandyman in that moment, right?
Sure.
It's just that he's recalibrated. Like Sandyman's like, fuck it. There's nothing on the North Moors. Y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
No such thing as dragons. And Mary's just a different flavor of that same idea.
Yeah.
There's no such, it's not goblins. It's just murder trees. We all know the murder trees. We killed the murder tree. We murdered the murder trees. We built a monument to that violence in the middle of their neighborhood.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that Mary was really living up to his name in this chapter. He was like the only optimistic person. He was like, come on, we'll be fine. You should stop singing. You should stop
Yeah.
yelling. This is going to be great. I know the way.
He's such a great leader.
He was so optimistic when everybody else was like,
Yeah.
He struck me as a bullshit artist.
yeah.
They're very important for society.
Yeah, but not maybe leading you into the wilderness.
So speaking of the wilderness,
Don't be suspicious.
Pretty much.
suspicious.
I want to bring this up. Another little fun bit of writing here. The descriptions of the various kinds of trees. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I wrote that down specifically. And I just want to read this. The innumerable sizes and shapes, straight or bent, twisted, leaning, squat or slender, smooth or gnarled and branched, with slimy, shaggy moss growths. I love that. It's so fun. What a fun sentence.
I was really worried you were going to make a penis joke out of it.
Oh, no.
Instead, I did.
There's not,
Gotcha.
The descriptive language in this chapter is amazing. There were times when I stopped just to reread a sentence because it was so well written. And like, I don't know, the other books you read these days, they just don't, the language isn't.
it's a bit matter of fact. They're so
In
focused.
this one?
No,
Oh,
I'm saying
yeah.
in like other books, it feels a
Yeah.
bit more like it's like
On
they're
the
so
surface.
focused.
Yeah.
They're so focused on surfaced storytelling that there's no flair.
Yes, that's exactly it.
There's no flair in the. But also, I don't know if people even know how to talk like this anymore. I mean, this is a lost art. It's a
Yeah.
lost art.
As you were reading, like you felt your adrenaline rising. Like the way he wrote tension was so effective.
And
it
also
wasn't
breaking
just-
tension,
Yes.
like with comic relief. You know?
And it wasn't just like describing what you saw, it was describing what you heard. You know, a door slammed, you could hear, you know, raindrops falling from the leaves through the mist. Like it was really, really well done. I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
it.
even Mary, when he turns around and he's like, "I don't think we should be yelling."
I don't think we should be singing.
All right, yeah. Specifically, the singing is the best part because he goes, "I don't think we should be singing," and then he he walks a little bit more forward, and he goes, "Let's go over there." And then we'll turn around and give them a rousing chorus. And it's
We're
like,
out, we can sing as much as we want.
it's like so fun. I thought it was so great.
Well, the line is, I should not sing more at present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Hobbit situation is revealed to us in the same moment it's revealed to the Hobbits. Mary has the most idea of what's happening, but even that is like surface. Like he only knows roughly what to expect, not what's going to happen. So like the language, I think at that point is so important because it puts us in those same shoes.
Yeah.
And my notes, because like when I do a read through, I don't know about you guys, but I do a read through and I make some highlighted notes for myself, just be like, oh, I want to talk about this, or this was fun, or that was a fun factoid, or don't talk for 45 minutes about this. And there's a lot of those. But like my notes for this chapter are, oh dear, oh no, oh God, oh God, no. No. Song question mark?
I see that final note says spell.
Yeah. And that's it. And it's like, oh. And that's it.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Like that's when the sleeping started. I'm like, we should take a nap. No.
Well, I actually
Yeah.
did have a question for you, Pat. The road, which is referred to several times by the Hobbits, the road is capitalized. Why?
It's a proper noun. It's the East Road.
Yes. It's
They're
like,
The
looking for.
East Road.
so for context.
Like that's the name of it?
Yeah,
It's not
it is
just like
the
the
East
road. They're
Road.
like
The
the
East
road.
Road.
Yeah, it's like
Interesting.
it would be like whatever road. Like this is the East Road. Like things would be named for where they went because large, well-maintenance roads throughout history are a rarity. And the idea is like, you know how in Game of Thrones they have the King's Road?
No.
Okay, so in history, a lot of what you have is oh god, I'm doing it. Long story short, good roads are few and far between, so they have very specific names. So the
Okay.
Great East Road is like the highway,
And that's the only thing that like goes east.
basically. Everything else is like a dirty track that you make in the road,
Sure.
if it's even a path.
Yeah. That makes
Otherwise,
sense.
you're just going over country.
That makes sense. Let's talk about this willow tree.
I loved this part.
I think that the willow tree is kind of like the second act of the chapter.
It's when shit gets real dangerous.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, suddenly this dangerous forest is presenting them with essentially a natural pillow, a bed, a place to rest, and it ends up being the worst thing that could happen to them.
It made them sleepy. The line is sleepiness seemed to be creeping out of the ground.
And the forest
And up
funneled
their
them.
legs and falling softly out of the air upon their heads.
Correct. I'm sorry if I missed your favorite part of the line.
I have it written down because I loved it. But it was such an interesting moment because when you're reading this and they finally find this like clearing and they find this tree and it starts to feel relaxed and you can let the tension in your muscles and your neck while you're reading start to relax, that they're going to be okay. This is a moment to close your eyes. They can rest. They do close their eyes. They start to nap. And it's not odd in the slightest bit, even though you hear, or they say they hear like distant singing in the air and this and that. It's like everything this is not out of the ordinary of anything we've read in this book so far. So you're like, okay, well, like some weird shit's going on in here, but okay. And it isn't really, or at least for me, it did not really click until Sam is like starting to get sleepy. And he sort of has this moment where he says, what the hell's going on? It's like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or whatever he said. It's like 3. It's like, why are we tired right now? Considering,
Right.
And then it's like, oh yeah, it popped in my head. They did what was it, like 30 miles the other day? Mm-hmm. So why are they tired right now? And then it started to be like, wait a minute, this is magical things happening right now. Mm-hmm. That was interesting.
Yeah, so it's really neat because at the end of one of the paragraphs, when Merry and Pippin drag themselves to the tree and like just lay up against it to go to sleep, they end the paragraph with they gave themselves up to the spell and fell fast asleep. Like, that's not a metaphor. Like,
Right.
Quite literally, yeah.
They go from like walking around the woods being scared to like suddenly they're so tired they can't speak in complete sentences.
And I can almost hear the cool words on the breeze about water and sleep. I was like, wow, that's very tantalizing. And they must all fall under the spell until out of nowhere, like Sam like yawns like a cavern, which is what a great visual.
Yeah.
You just can see that. And then he's like, this sudden sleepiness is uncanny. There's more behind this than sun and warm air. And he's like, I don't like this great big tree. I don't trust it. Hark at it singing about sleep now. This won't do at all. And he gets up and starts shaking some things up.
So do we agree that the tree is singing
yeah,
to them
it's
trying to like
Definitely casting a
lull them
spell.
to sleep? Yeah.
Using tree magic, which I didn't know there was tree magic.
Me neither.
So like, because they say things like, you hear the leaves moving, and it's like just out of range of hearing is like a voice, and it's a song that you don't quite know the words to.
But it's soothing and cool, and
A
it's like
soft
very
fluttering
Yeah.
as of a song half whispered.
Yeah,
Sure.
seductive.
And Frodo had a moment of experiencing this before when the Black Rider. Mm-hmm. He's like, he's almost able to pick up on when something is communicating.
Is he just having a psychotic break?
He might be, but I think that
Poor
he's
little guy's unwound.
unbelievably self-aware compared to the other people.
But also aware to nature, which as a gardener would be a pretty good skill to have. I mean, it's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was his profession
and-
beforehand. He's like, this is not natural.
Who's Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
actually, that's really funny. Sam's like, fuck this tree.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I know trees, and you're an asshole.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, this is an imposter
He's not into
posing
it.
as a tree. He's like, I don't believe this.
Well, it's funny because, like, right, so he's the only one from the Shire, and all the others are from Buckland, where they did their tree battle and their murder, and like, Sam's like, fuck this tree, I'm gonna set it on fire. So maybe it's something in their blood. It's like buried in their genetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting that while Merry and Pippin are inside the tree and they light the tree on fire, that suddenly the tree like could speak to them.
She hadn't done that.
It's gonna haunt my nightmares.
That was the sound of Frodo getting flung into the river.
But like suddenly they can understand it. They can understand the tree.
I think it's cool that the only reason Sam was able to save them all was because he walked off after the ponies. And I'm assuming he was out of the tree's reach or whatever, out of the spell's reach.
Yeah.
And so he was unaffected and able to come back and like pull Frodo out of the stream.
He's just so dedicated to the idea that he has a job to do. It's like, fuck the ponies.
Good old Samwise.
Yeah.
I have a note. Good old Samwise.
Well, I'm glad we got that in.
Yeah, got that.
Good job.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
Mary, though, and you wake up half inside a tree, and the tree's saying, I'm going to pinch you in half if your buddy doesn't put that fire out right now.
Yeah, that was wild.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I also love that when Sam, before he gets to the fire, he says that if he has to, he's going to gnaw it down with his teeth. Like, this man is not letting his friends go under. He's going to go out fighting. And I just love that about him. Since day one, nothing gets between him and his friends.
Yeah, he's very loyal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so not like, honestly, not a lot happens here in the chapter, I think, but the big takeaway, right, and the purpose of this chapter is to show us that immediately outside the Shire, the rules no longer apply.
Yes.
This is we are put on notice as readers that from now on, shit's gonna be weird
Yeah.
and harmful
Yes.
and bad. And by the way, you need an adult.
Good
And
thing
in
Tom
comes
Bombadil
Tom
shows up.
Bombadil.
Tom Bombadil.
Wait, I just love, if you just
Tom
picture this,
Bombadil.
it's
He
Frodo.
definitely is the kind of Sally car dealership
Oh my God.
of the Lord of the Rings.
No one's going to get that. No, I just love that it cuts from Frodo running around like, help, help, help. But it's like, hey, doll, Mary, doll. And the song's like singing nonsense. Like, it's just some man in a beard, like stomping with his thick legs and his yellow boots. Like, could you just imagine that? You're like crying
I
for
would
help.
appreciate it if Tolkien didn't go after guys with thick legs.
My man, like a thick
He actually exalts
Forest.
thick legs.
I got tree trunks on me, and
Tolkien
I
would've loved
related to
it.
Tom a bit. In this. I saw myself in Tom.
When Tom Bombadil was introduced, I noticed two things. One, in his first nonsense song, he says the words Underhill, which was supposed to be
Yes.
Frodo's alias. I have no idea if that was intentional or not, but that was on the third line of his song, Down Along Underhill. Shining in
Luckily
the
for
sunlight.
us, we've got J.R.R. Tolkien on the line. We can bring him in right now. Go
Let me
ahead,
get
ask
the
your
Ouija board.
question. Ask your question. J.R.R. Tolkien's on the line.
Yep. And then
I noticed that too.
the description of Tom Bombadil as like wearing a bright blue hat with a feather and a long brown beard and a
Like a
bright
yellow-
blue jacket. I was
Blue
like,
eyes.
This
Yellow
is like a
boots.
leprechaun.
Yeah, yellow boots.
That's racist.
No. Okay, fine. The leprechaun description from our childhood.
I think it's more of a non-racist thing.
Fuck you.
No, I'm just-
No, really though, yeah, you get that impression, right? Like, whatever or whoever Tom Bombadil is, he does not follow any of the normal rules because
Right.
even the hobbits are like, he is too short for a tall person, like meaning humans.
That was an interesting line to me. Honestly, I got really confused by that because the way they described him, I just imagined this almost like a Hagrid from Harry Potter situation where like there's this
I know.
big guy walking. And then they were like, but he wasn't as tall as like the men. And I was like, oh, so like a dwarf?
but he's
The
like
tallest
he's
dwarf.
literally described as like dancing and leaping. So like he is, I think, just like ballet dancing his way through the woods as this happens.
I think from the minute Tom Bombadil is introduced, the rest of the chapter feels like a cartoon.
Yes, I would agree.
His description, the songs he sings, the fact that he's always singing and talking nonsense.
But isn't that like giving you whiplash as a reader? You're like, mortal peril. Sing song in yellow. What the fuck?
Look at
Yeah.
you, yellow boot.
I just want to be on his level. You know what I mean?
Right, like-
when that came in, I was like, I needed this break because I am very anxious right now. I'm worrying for these hobbits.
And he comes in and he snaps away. Naughty tree, don't
Right.
do it.
I think the worst sin that Tom commits is that Tom's songs are terrible.
Very bad.
Yeah. Can
He
you
has
sing
no
them better?
sense of rhyme schemes, no sense of timing within his sentences. They are truly a collection of words.
What can you possibly criticize about Hey Doll, Mary Doll, Ring a Dong Dillo, Ring a Dong, Hop Along, Follow All the Willow? I'm sorry I started this. Tom Bomb, Jolly Song, Tom Bombadillo.
It's fucking deep.
I just see a very deep baritone voice. And then,
Pat, if you could adjust for her notes.
I don't think he can.
I don't think I can drop a register. Hey, Come Mary doll, my darling.
I'm thinking a bit more
Sing-songy.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh God.
Hey, come Mary doll. I don't know. I have no idea. I am the least musically inclined of everyone here,
I
and
am
you
not a
all know
singer.
this.
Are you gonna do it?
I'm gonna try.
Try. Give me a little more Amy Winehouse.
No, this is how I hear it, but it's not gonna come out because I don't have the register. Hey doll, Mary doll, ring a dong a dillo, ring a dong, hop along, falla for the willow. Tom Bomb, jolly Tom, Tom Bombadillo. Hey, come doll, dairy doll, my darling. He's like just like singing.
He's like Jack Blacking it
kind
in the
of.
woods.
Yeah. Also, I'm so sorry for anyone listening or watching. I think it's cut.
No, absolutely not.
You were right, Pat. There's a lot of songs, a lot more songs. In the first chapter, I was like, ooh, there's been a song. I'm here for it. And now I'm like, enough with the fucking songs. I'm tired of
Oh,
it.
bud, I got so much bad news for you. Like, songs are a measurable % of this story.
Cool.
Well, he was a linguist, but he wasn't a good songwriter. I'll give him that.
You can only get away with that because he's dead.
He will come and fight you otherwise.
Oh, Mary dill dong, dee blee dee dee doo.
So those who heard me sing them, they're actually quite good.
Come on, what's not beautiful about Goldberry, Mary Yellow Berry-O?
Well,
Are we saying if it's good or if it's beautiful? Because those are interesting terminologies on how to describe music.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right?
So, like, the thing about Tolkien, a lot of his songs, if you...
I feel like Tolkien would have been a really big fan of I'm blue, I would die,
Yeah.
da ba dee, da ba die.
So,
just vibing.
And he's like, the language. Oh!
okay, so I hate
Right?
I truly hate that I'm playing into that, but yes, because a lot of his songs, like the dwarf songs, specifically from The Hobbit, which are not here, but like you get it. It's much more like it's a drinking song. It's meant to be like
There's a point to it.
that is
Keep the
the
beat.
beat. We sing, we shout, we
we
drink.
drink.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
See?
And then you
I was able
have
to guess
Yeah.
3 of the words he said.
right, which is amazing because I didn't know what I was going to say before it came out of my mouth.
I know.
But the point is like, so that there's that tone of music, and then you have this sort of like elf music, which is a little more lyrical. There's a little more thought into that, and then you have Tom Bombadil, who is just this like freestyle rapping weirdo in the woods,
Yeah.
who just happens to like wander by in time to save Pippin from being mulched.
He's like
It gave me some weird vibes.
He's like
In fact-
agnostically apathetic. I feel slightly safe around him, but I also don't trust him.
Right.
I wrote the vibe that it gave me on the very last page.
This feels like some faux,
Faye.
some Faye bullshit.
Wow.
This feels like some Faye bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems like he orchestrated the whole event to be the hero.
Is a Faye a fairy?
Yeah.
It's a high fae or a fairy. It's
Like-
yeah.
It's like
Fae.
when you meet
No, no.
the Fae, they are manipulating you in a very fun way, but they're going to get something from you.
Right.
Oh, yes. Like
They'll tell you riddles.
like the cookie people.
What?
Yes.
Not Keebler.
Yes.
No. More
These
like
are like fae.
more
or
like
The Keebler elves will give
so
you
there's
what you want, but
lesser
they will
elves-
take
Or sorry,
your
there's lesser fairies and there's
physical
higher
life.
fairies,
So-
and the fae have more magic.
so what? Okay, so when people
By the way,
talk,
the Keeblers totally steal your attractiveness. They feed off of your attractiveness.
well, yeah, that's how they make the cookies so good.
Yeah.
One drop at a time.
Yes.
So I can't.
We all know this is true.
When all right, so the Fae bullshit thing is, I think, a really beautiful line.
Yeah.
No, it really is because like. So when you talk about like fairy stuff, it's like the tooth fairy. It's like the fairy godmother. When you say Fae, Fae,
Yes.
that is old and dangerous.
Yes.
And when somebody says, "Oh, that's a little Fae thing," or like that's this is some Fae bullshit, what they mean is it's extraordinarily dangerous. Mm-hmm. but in weird ways.
He's like luring them into his house with like wonderful food and bright, happy
can we
lights.
talk about that for a second?
After they just got almost eaten by trees.
And
like,
it's almost weird
By his
coincidence
pet
of right when
tree.
they were really in trouble. He just appears because they heard this song before and things kept getting worse.
he's this super happy dancing little guy.
Yeah.
What is waiting for them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's they wake up from like an enchanted spell sleep and like, fuck, we gotta follow the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
I'm so interested in what's going to happen in this house when they go into Tom Bombadil's house.
And his mysterious river woman, the daughter of the river woman.
Yeah,
With
that
her high
requires
pitch.
lilies.
then
That's
she's-
actually my final note, which is the river daughter is so intriguing. I don't know what it means.
Not like
but
that.
I'm
Has
here
anyone
for
else
it.
noticed she is not physically present, but he brings her up and her voice starts singing.
Yeah.
Like to me, I was like, oh, what?
Tom's,
It's like they're-
Tom's a bit of a neckbeard.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I can't unsee that.
Yeah.
Tom is like the 5 that
He
lucked
lives
into
alone in the woods.
He's a
with his
hermit.
and
girlfriend.
but he's
And his pet tree.
he's a 5, but he brings his 11 water lilies.
Yeah, he's a 5, but he thinks he's a 12.
No, he's a 5, but then he writes those terrible songs.
He is a guy that wears Tom Bombadil wears a fedora and says "milady" at conventions.
Oh no, he put a feather in that cap.
Yeah, 100%. He's got yellow boots on,
and a blue
blue
pants.
pants. He saw the movie Dick Tracy in 1988 and said, "This is my movie." And that was it. We need that. That was the last thing
was
he
his
did.
luck.
Oh no! So anyway, I thought that was
So I'm
interesting.
worried about Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
I don't know what's about to happen.
After
But I got bad vibes.
After all of that, I just don't even care anymore like the Hobbits. I'm going to that. Once he said
mean, yeah.
bread and cream and butter, I said, I'm there.
So like food is the
You
way
were
to the heart.
hungry.
I was. I also,
You heard butter and bread, and you were like,
well, for the first time ever, Chris and I did not listen to this together. And I was listening to it while working out at the gym. And I heard that. I said, yeah, I'm going.
I'd go too. I mean, if it's like angry trees or this happy guy,
Singing songs
Yeah.
and just inviting
they're
the
maybe
ponies.
not thinking about the undertones of what's happening.
So that's just, but the hobbits are literally just jumping from one piece of bullshit to the next. They're stumbling forward and they are barely moving forward. Tom Bombadil's not good that we know of. All he did was save Pippin from being like thrill killed by a willow tree.
And when that happened, did anybody else notice the line? Tom put his mouth to the crack and began singing into it in a low voice. They could not catch the words, but evidently Mary was aroused. His legs began to kick.
He was
You people.
awakening from the spell and able
there
to
was
have
an awakening.
You are dismantling my childhood one witticism at a time.
So, of all the funny language in this chapter and all the good sentences, did anybody have a favorite sentence?
I definitely did. And it's so lame, but it made me giggle. And then I also just wanted to start every invitation to a party this way. Hop along, my hearties. Hobbits, ponies all. We are fond of parties. Now let the fun begin. I was like,
Bring your
"Yoo-hoo!"
ponies.
No, but it almost sounded like a pirate shanty. Like they're like shit's about to go down.
All right. Would you mind rereading that in a pirate shanty voice?
Oh God. Hey, come, Derridle, hop along, me hearties. Hobbits, ponies, all, we are fond of parties. I keep wanting to do a terrible Irish accent, which is so unfair to those
That's
people.
not how pirates do it.
At all. No, I'm
Pat,
not.
would
I'm
you
not
like
a
to
pirate.
rectify this? I know you know how to do a sea shanty.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'll
You
pass the
and
buck.
your bathtub adventures.
Now you gotta slow down. It's a work song. You gotta slow it
What's
down.
the tempo? You tell
You're
me. What's the
working.
tempo?
You
Working,
start it with
so
your foot. We'll copy it.
Hey, come, dairy doll, hop along my hearties, hobbits, ponies, all. We are fond of parties.
I love it. That's a bad rap.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like,
Hey, I'm hunting on the beach. I do.
what's
but-
epic rap battles in history? Oh Jesus God, no! The work song is different.
Oh my God.
So, anyone else have a favorite line?
Yeah, I think that we just ended the series.
I think it's time to get blown away by the next surprise.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right. Is it time for?
I think it's time for food for thought.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Wow. What do we got here?
So, in the spirit of mandatory nap time, here we have some, I believe it's called nighttime story tea for
Roofies.
everybody. It's just like chamomile and spearmint. It's
And-
just a nice tea.
This is just simply a nice
So,
tea.
cheers, everybody.
cheers, everybody.
I
Wait, guys,
appreciate
you
a
have
nice-
to wait. You know I'm the slowest one.
Ow, ow, ow,
Okay.
ow.
You have to do it with us this
ow,
time.
Don't give
ow,
RJ
You
a
don't do it
shot.
with us
ow,
every
it's
time.
so hot, ow.
There you go. Cheers.
All right,
Cheers.
to mandatory nap time.
To chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
Mandatory nap time is something.
Put the spoon in the pudding.
And just to make it like a little bit
I'm
more,
trying to talk into my tea.
just to make it a little bit more non-optional, we've also got some Z code.
Oh my God.
Just like
All right, we got a
crumble it
timer.
up and sprinkle it in. So
right.
good luck getting home
Good
tonight.
enough, guys. You've got approximately 8 minutes.
Oh. The spell is working. The spell is working. He can't even pick it up.
It's already working.
Oh, my hand's not asleep.
I'm just kidding. I did not spike anybody.
Also, thank you for bringing tea. I
welcome.
love tea.
Now we can.
With proper saucers
chill
and
out
fine
before we go
china.
Is this
love
even
it.
open?
No.
I'm gonna put this to you guys. And I want you to take a quick second to think about it. Part 1. What is the most interesting part of any of these characters' dating profile? Part 2, who gets a second date or who doesn't and why?
All the characters are just the hobbits. Like, how
pick one.
deep are we going?
I
here?
mean, we can go around until we run out of shit, but like, I'm telling you, number 1 right now, Gandalf doesn't have a profile.
he's ghosting everybody.
I think you're wrong about that.
I think Gandalf meets people the old-fashioned way at the bar.
I think people don't even know they meet Gandalf.
Yeah.
That's ominous.
Almost worse.
You know who's got 4 profiles is Pippin.
Pippin. He's the
Pippin.
fuck boy.
He is though, right? Like, so the problem with Pippin is that he's extremely Pippin, but that's also the only thing that he's got for going for him.
Not a
So-
second date.
No, I think a second date, but I think by date 3, you're like, nothing here. He's just all excitement and noise.
He's a little bit.
I personally would like to think that.
That was so good.
Oh my God.
Chris totally missed it.
Jesus. I would like to think that Sam has probably the most romantic profile of anybody. I think he's an underrated romantic.
I don't think so. I think that his interests are hedge clipping and loyalty.
But that is just
That's exactly what I want in a man.
there we go.
What did we do on Sunday?
Why do you think I said that?
Oh, that was a compliment.
I think
We trimmed the
Frodo.
hedge.
Oh, there you go.
Like, that's not a metaphor.
I think Frodo's a little emo. He has
Oh, yeah.
an Edgar Allan Poe quote and a really artsy profile pic, and then just nothing smiley, and it's I may not be here tomorrow.
And Pippin's like, I'm definitely going to be here tomorrow.
Pippin's entire thing is just ASLDTF.
So what was it? 1999
Yeah.
AOL.
Yeah.
This is a
Chat.
really, really fucked up take.
My favorite.
But I think that the black writers would be the hottest shit on these dating profiles. They're dark, mysterious, tall. You can't see their face. They're 18 feet tall and they're in shadow and they just ride in these horses.
Here's
and
the
they're
problem.
They're sniffing.
Here's the
They're
problem.
crawling
Stop
around
there.
on the ground.
You-
There's pictures on their knees.
It was
and-
good until sniffing.
Here's the
You have
problem.
been reading way too much fairy smut.
Oh, Sarah J. Maas, she ruined me.
Here's the problem. I'm going to throw a wrench in here. The
We
Black
met some
Riders
elves.
have a lisp.
No, they don't
What?
speak.
I haven't spoken at all. So
No,
far.
they're
Oh,
quiet.
they
Their
100%
mouths
have
are
a
on
lisp.
something else. I'm sorry.
They 100% have a lisp.
Well, they've been hissing at people,
They do, and they scream.
and they
What they've been doing is saying shh, but with a lisp.
Without any front teeth.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Okay, all right, Laura.
Oh. Well, I was going to go with Sam But that's already been taken.
Oh, I said Sam, and I was denied.
Well, there's only 4 hobbits, and there's 4 of us, so good luck.
Am I stuck with Pippin then?
No, you're stuck with Merry.
Mary, that's what I meant.
Mary's cool.
Mary is the eternally upbeat one. So his pictures are all having fun on adventures and smiling. And I don't know, maybe his friends are dying in the background, but he's just like so happy in this little selfie he took with, like a crazy Willow eating his friend in the background. Will he get a second
He's
date?
definitely listening
Probably
to Jason
not.
Mraz.
Yeah.
No second date for Mary.
Because
he's gonna set up that
he
household.
seems really fun and really upbeat. And then when you go on a date with him, you realize he's batshit insane and will get you killed.
He's
Little
Uncle
bossy
Joey.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Damn, that was some good tea. Join us next week as we discuss Chapter 7, which is called...
In the house of Tom Bombadil.
We're done the podcast. We'll see you next week for the House of Tom Bombadil, Chapter 7. Make sure you read it, follow us online, share it with your friends. Peace.